You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
I got Bantha. It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file.
That doesn't sound too hard.
Boom! This is Making Tracks.
This is the way.
Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
I know these people. They are brutal. Does this look Jedi to you?
That's not how the Force works.
They'll never see it coming.
Count me in.
Mr. Back.
You're listening to Making Tracks, and a very special episode as we head east to Cologne in Germany and the 2026 running of the highly regarded Power of the Force convention, where fans from across Europe and beyond congregated to enjoy an amazing weekend and meet some of the biggest stars in the galaxy. That included the one and only Giancarlo Esposito, who was there on the Saturday and who gave a very enthusiastic and enlightening talk that you can listen to right here on Making Tracks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Giancarlo Esposito. For being here and spending your time with us here in this panel. Coming to Cologne, coming to this huge Star Wars family, how is that for you to being part of this?
I feel like I'm in some kind of crazy dream, or maybe it's a crazy nightmare. I have never seen so many hyped up Star Wars fans in one place. Ever. I've never seen so many Moff Gideons, so many Din Djarin, so many stormtroopers. I'm in some kind of crazy cult, but I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. When you were casted, was it for you like, okay, I know a lot about Star Wars, I think it's fun it's interesting to be part of that? Or was it more like, okay, it's another job, let's see where it's going?
Oh no, it was never another job. When Jon Favreau called me to do this, he said, I have good news and I have bad news. I said, okay. He said, what do you want to hear first? I said, I always love the good news. He said, I've written a role for you as Moff Gideon. And I said, you wrote me as an insect, a moth? And he said, no, a moth. Not a moth, a moth. I said, okay, cool. And I said, what's the bad news? He said, I can't really pay you. And I said, oh my God, it's Disney, and you have all this money. He said, it's all gonna go into all the special effects and the whole volume. Explained to me how he was gonna shoot it. And he said, do you have any special requests? And I said, I wanna have a cape. And he said, done. And I never knew that I would also have the dark saber, which is such an honor in this franchise, in this story, in this world, to be able to wield the dark saber. Very few people have. So I was always excited. So it was never a job. It was always trying to figure out how to strike the right level of menace and to also have a certain amount of sophistication. After all, Moff Gideon knows everything about everything, but no one knows how. And so he has a network of intelligence, and he has a plan. And so for me, it was always about building the character and fulfilling the obligation to the storyline. And it was a whole lot of fun to do. So with every episode and every piece that I was a part of, I wanted to bring the best part of myself.
And we saw, because your character is, again, something that we were kind of maybe struggling with first, like, oh, another baddie. And for us, I'm in the 501st, you have the guys here, right? We always say it's the bad guys doing good. But also your role is kind of well, you do your job, and as you just said, you had a plan, and it's always really hard to say what is the evil side when you do something you're assigned to or something you're pursuing in this case.
Well, for me as an actor, I feel like it's a very human experience. And so we as human beings are always faced with making the right decision, which might be the light side, or making a decision that's all for ourselves, which would equate to the dark side. So always in my mind, I'm looking for the opposition, right? Whatever I'm doing as a character, I'm looking for the right reason to be doing it, even though it looks bad. And that creates a character that's completely human and completely well-rounded. So for me, going after the child, Grogu, I always had in my mind that there's another reason that he wants the child. That there may be a good reason behind it. Yeah. You know what I mean? There may be something that this child has that Moff Gideon would want to extract to help all of humanity, right? So I leave that thought in my brain. When the world is in chaos, and so you're over here in Germany, and I'm really happy to be here. I love Cologne, I've been here before. The world I came from, my country's in chaos, right? I mean, total chaos. Like, you know, it's crazy. And we never thought it would get to that point, but that's the example I make. So Moff Gideon is someone who thinks he can put it all back together. So those reasons have to drive the character for me to be able to, or for you to see the possibility that there could be something good, maybe. But in the end, Moff Gideon turns out to be another, megalomaniac who is completely self-absorbed, and he's the brilliant one, and he knows better. But that also plays into mythology. Right? The mythology, if you look at Joseph Campbell and mythological stories, the hero is the flip side of the fallen hero. The fallen hero was once a hero, right? So I had to think about that as Moff Gideon. He was once a hero, but no one listened to him. And so he got impatient, and he said, "You're gonna have to listen to me, because I can do it better than you." So I'm trying to fulfill the obligation to the larger story of mythology and humanity.
And that's why you wear a cape.
That's why I wear a cape, baby. I also want to fly. So I don't know if you know my story. There's so many young people here, and it's really wonderful to be at a con where I'm meeting so many children and who are so enthused and dressed up and recognize the potential of this particular entity. Because I believe in dreaming, and I believe if you dream, and you're in wonder, enchantment, and joy, and that dream could come true, but you have to hold that dream in the palm of your hand, in your heart and soul, for it to happen. And many people along the way will say, "Oh, you're dreaming, that's never gonna happen, be in reality." But the reality is that your dreams come true because you attract them to yourself, because you keep them in your consciousness, because you never give them up. And when I see young people here, I'm reminded of the wonder, enchantment, and joy that many of us as adults may have forgotten. Because that is the key that gives you the juice to be excited about life. And that's what propels you forward. So for me, it's a wonderful experience to have all this around me and to be a part of it when people are really having fun. But it's whether you know it or not, those mythological lessons which equate to love and care and excitement are what really move us forward in life.
Hi, this is David W. Collins, voice actor for Star Wars and sound designer at Skywalker Sound. You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Hope and dreams are key for Star Wars. Like everyone is living a certain dream, trying and hoping, in case of the rebellion, for a change or to achieve something. So, and as you said, like hope is like a magnet, or your wishes are, so you're drawn to something if you stick to it.
Absolutely. You know, I in a certain sense, I had lost a part of my own childhood. I started acting when I was 8 years old because I loved it. And I was in a world that I really enjoyed. So I was creating the dream that I wanted for myself, but I didn't have the opportunity to go play with friends and do all that. I played with adults. I was on stage, I was in front of the camera. I did all those things I loved to do, and I realized that part of me let go of what kids do. Like when you just play in an unjaded way, you're expressing yourself as you should be for your age. So I grew up really quickly. So when I get to, I said to John, I love you, I want to work with you, I want to be a part of this. And so even playing Moff Gideon and being stern and doing all the things I did in that, I gotta tell you, when I kicked that door open of the TIE Fighter, even though I crashed, I kicked that door open and came out with that darksaber, I was like a kid again. And so for me, no, it's the truth. I brought to myself the childhood that I felt like part of me had left behind, and I was really, every stern line I said when I walked across the room, I was really laughing inside. Because when do you get a chance to do that? When do you get a chance to control the chaos? It's a great lesson for many of us as adults. Because sometimes, I have 4 children, we have commitments, we have to go to work, we have kids, we have life, and we forget that we can be in control of the chaos in our own lives, right? You have to just form your intention. Like, intention is everything. And so it's either you wake up and you go, oh my God, I gotta go to work, I gotta get the kids off to school, I gotta deal with the wife, I gotta deal with the husband, or you wake up and go, it's gonna be a great day. I'm alive, I'm breathing, it's gonna be a great day, right? I'm in love with life, right? It's not so hard. You determine, right? So what you do today with how you speak to yourself, how you love yourself, how you embrace yourself, reflects how you treat other people and how you embrace them. But that also reflects how it's gonna go for you, right? I could be here today and going, look, I got in at 5 o'clock in the morning off a plane. I got in a car that was going 1,500 miles an hour, right? I was like, oh shit, I gotta put on my seatbelt. Excuse me, kids. Right? I gotta get there, right? I'm worried, the car that was going back and forth. I'm like, okay. I get to the hotel, take a shower. We have to be down at 9. I had 30 minutes. Now my attitude could have been, oh my God, I gotta go hang out with all these Star Wars freaks. I'm gonna see 15,000 Moff Gideons. I gotta go, hey, hi, oh. Or my attitude could be, how exciting is my life right now? You dig what I'm saying? Right? So because you train yourself in a certain way, it's either positive or negative. And if it's positive, you're going to attract the positive. People are going to want to be around you because you feel good. Now, you may not feel like it, but I'm here just as a simple reminder, not only to you, but also to myself, that this is the life I chose and attracted. And you know what? It's exciting and wonderful, and I love it.
This family is this positive that even if you were mean and grumpy, we would still love you. So
I love that. That's a great attitude.
any questions? Yeah, pleasure.
Hello, Mr. Esposito.
Hi there.
Thank you so much for coming to Germany. We are very happy to see you.
Happy to see you.
And your positive spirit touches my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was curious, was there a very funny scene on set on The Mandalorian, which you want to share with us, maybe?
Well, yeah, when I first met the child, I was walking with Jon Favreau, and the child was on a table covered up, and he said, "Do you want to see the child?" And that's even before they named the child Grogu. And I said, "Yeah." And he pulled off the tarp off the puppet, and I looked at this thing that was so alive, and this child really had all the qualities of this wonder, enchantment, and joy that I speak about. And I said, "Wow." And then the puppeteer walked by. You want to talk to him and have an interaction? And he started to move the child around, and I was astounded. And I said, "John, this is the star of the show." And he looked at me, he said, "What?" I said, "This is the star of the show." And he scratched his head and he looked at the child and looked at me, he said, "Oh, okay." And because this is what brings us the reminder of who we really are. And so in the scene I had with Grogu, where I had to handcuff that little bastard. And this is a story about empowerment. You know, I had great lines, but then I got free. And how hard is it sometimes to bring your best self to something where you feel like you have the confidence to get free? And so the lines in that scene, you know, have you ever seen one of these? You're liable to lose an eye. That was all ad-lib. And John was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, do that. Because it was just so natural to me to have that kind of interaction in this absurd universe where I'm literally working with a puppet. Now, what do they tell adult actors who fashion themselves to be stars? You never work with kids or dogs or animals, right? Because they're going to steal the scene, which is perfectly fine. But to have an interaction that's so human in that moment, and to have ad-lib lines, which I felt really comfortable about doing, and to have those be accepted was a really great thing.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
It was sort of like the fight scene in the end of my time where we really couldn't figure out why, you know, I have a blaster on me and I get taken to the ground, and I said, well, why doesn't she just shoot me? She's got this, right? So there's got to be some other physical move besides just the threat of a gun, because she's not going to use it. And John came to the set and he said, well, what's going on? I said, there's a better move here. There's a better play in this moment. And he said, well, what do you think? I said, well, we're trying to figure it out, but I think it's this. I think she comes up to me, she's never going to shoot me. She flips her gun around and she smacks me in the forehead with it. Knocks me to the ground. Knocks you to the ground. Oh, are you going to be all right? Well, we can put some pads down and stuff. That might work. And I said, I'll be fine. He said, well, I don't know if would that work for the story? And then he looked at me and he said, this is why I hired you, right? A real empowering moment. He left me with Rick, the director. He said, you can figure this out. I got to be on another stage in 3 minutes. I trust you. It's going to work. You know what you're doing. And we tried it a number of different ways, and it worked. But that is to get out of your own way and to be in service to the story. What does the story want you to know? What are you supposed to be telling with this story? And to me, that's like being in service to each other, being in service to the originality and the truth of this story was important to me. So those were a couple of fun moments for me.
Hello, my name is Alex, huge fan.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. I even bought the dark saber for you to sign later.
I love it.
Wanted to know what was the most challenging moment for you on the film set?
I think the most challenging moments were the moments of silence, because I believe in that for the character. Someone who's as calculated and thoughtful as Moff Gideon, you have to leave room to just express that from the inside out without words. And to me, I found those moments. How you walk across the room, how you deal with the whole, the scene where we were all talking and about what was gonna happen. And have other actors who felt intimidated by me already blow their lines, you know, and kind of not know their footing, and having compassion for them, you know, and allowing them to be able to do it again, but yet being able to take charge of that moment without interrupting them with words, which means you have to give them a certain look and figure it out. So those were some challenging moments for me. To allow the story to breathe, really. You know, in the moment where I'm in a room and there are 15 clones of me, you know, figuring out how to have that be powerful, not overacting because those clones look just like me. And to realize, oh, there are, you know, 15 me's lined up in vats full of water, allow that to be strong, because that already speaks for itself.
Yeah, hello, thank you for being here. My question is, in the last few years we had a lot of technological revolution in the film industry, and when maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience between your amazing performance in Breaking Bad and later on in The Mandalorian course with all the new LED screens and stuff like that. How is the compression for the experience, the compression like 15, 20 years ago and nowadays in our productions?
Well, things are no longer as practical as they were. And so we used to have to do everything. Now, you have to remember, I'm a guy who did Cotton Club and worked with Francis Ford Coppola in early green screen work. I also did another show, Once Upon a Time, where I was in a complete green suit. I also did a game, Far Cry 6, where I was in a complete green suit with a helmet on and cameras in my face, recording my face in a volume room, early volume room, with 100 cameras on the ceiling. And no sets, everything was green. So to me, as an actor, with all of the new technology and with Mandalorian, being in a room, I came out of my TIE fighter, I had to climb up. The TIE fighter was 40 feet in the air. So I climbed up a scaffold onto a ladder all the way up onto the top of this TIE fighter orb. Then they took all of that away. So I'm hanging out in space with this green screen kind of room, but the whole ceiling and walls were all computer generated, so everything was moving, and I had to hold my footing and do my work. But there's no other set in the room. I'm on basically a volume stage in costume. So I realized very quickly that I would, through my performance and my eyes, I had to reflect a feeling that you would eventually see. And so everything has changed in our business, and it's about to change again with all of the AI stuff. Hopefully, actors will still have work, but I equate it to using more of my own imagination within a room, within a set, having to imagine things that aren't there, and to be able to truly organically act with nothing else there. And so for me, it's an exercise to be able to challenge me to allow vulnerability, compassion, strength, when there's nothing cueing it. I have to do it myself. And to me, in a way, if you watch children play, if you have, one child or even two children, and you set them all out in your backyard, they can play for hours with each other, or with nothing at all, with no other person there, because their imagination creates their world. And so, to me, I've had to return to that feeling, to be able to create a world that could be reflected to you, so you could see it, so that I'm complete and full in every action and every word I say.
I'm pretty sure that we never reach the moment where AI will be able to replace actors like you, because we wouldn't be able to talk to you on conventions and get all of this. That would be quite a big loss of fun, so therefore, no, never.
So one of my favorite things about Mandalorian was my hologram. Like, I just loved doing that hologram. And I think you're right, but there are ways to beam us in and beam us out. But this is the truth. To be here and have this kind of interaction is irreplaceable.
So next question, there was some over there, one over there. I run there first.
Hi, this is Annabelle and you are listening to Fantha Tracks.
So, you have already said a few of your lines, but I would love to know your personal favorite of your lines.
Bring me the child.
Great choice.
My real favorite is, long live the Empire! I mean, I get some of the best lines in the business with every show I do, and I'm really happy with the amount of iconic words I have to say, and I certainly feel like in Mandalorian, I really there's so many favorites for me. But I'm grateful for them. Assume I know everything.
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for giving us two of the most iconic villains in TV history, basically. And I wonder, while other actors, when they are menacing, they start to grow loud and angry, but you always go quiet, and then you're the most menacing. So what's your approach for that?
Well, I feel like, my mother used to say, you get more with sugar than you do with salt. And so, for me, I love the world of misdirection. If someone is screaming in your face, you're probably better off being calm and not screaming back, right? Just observing what is pissing them off. And so for me, there's more power and control than not. And the audience is going to wonder how you're keeping it together and how you have the ability to not explode. And that's a more interesting choice to me. I think it's also, every role that I do helps me as a human being. And so I think I'm more the explosive guy in my life, right? And so to be able to work against that in my work has taught me something about my life. So that every time I get triggered, if I can remember to breathe and not explode, then I've learned something about me. And so not only learn something, it's about practicing. The more you know about yourself, the more you can help yourself heal from whatever traumatic wounds you have, or whatever you didn't get when you were a kid. That's why we explode. I didn't get enough love. My parents didn't listen to me. All those things. So you want to scream and have someone see you, right? Don't we all just want to be seen and heard? And my parents sometimes didn't have patience for that. Overactive kid, a lot going on, right? So that guides you in every relationship you have in your life. But if you can see that and start to process that and go against it and give yourself the love you never got, then you're not so needy of it from other people, right? You can give it to yourself, and you can understand, oh, you can stop a minute and go, that guy just said something to me, and I want to smash his skull in. But instead of doing that, I'm gonna instead give him some love, right? So it's that practice that changes us. It's not the practice of going to the nth degree like we've done 1,000 times before. It's the moment we stop and go, oh my God, here I go again. I can change this. I can do this differently. That's the moment of growth. And I've had those moments as an actor, and they've guided me and reflected back to me as a human being, and I've learned something through every part I played.
We're already running out of time, and you're next.
Oh no! I'm gonna have a tantrum!
Well, you can kick Robo. But remember, the Mandos are next, so maybe be careful. Okay, your next appointment is just around the corner for the photo booth. So for all of you, if you want to take a photo, if you got the tickets for that, it's just around here. If you haven't met Giancarlo Esposito, go to his booth, talk to him. You just heard so many inspiring thoughts. Thank you for that.
Thank you, we love you so much.
Email radio@fanthatracks.com. Head to links.fanthatracks.com for links to our social media feeds, Fantha Tracks TV and Fantha Tracks Radio. Thanks to James Semple for the Fantha Tracks intro, Blues Harvest for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock UK time. Our weekly news show, Good Morning Tatooine, goes live Sundays at 9 o'clock UK time on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, Fantha Tracks is absolutely free, so it costs nothing to stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Cannon Fodder.